What's up, babes, beauties, baddies? Welcome back to our channel. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys how to achieve this makeup look that you're seeing. It's just something simple, something fun for Valentine's Day. So of course, if you're interested in watching, then just keep it right here. But try to use as little product as you can, just because even though it is going to be obvious that we're wearing makeup, of course, we don't want to look like a cake face. You don't want it to look too unnatural. You don't want the makeup to just start to build and become super thick and heavy on your face. It doesn't feel good and it doesn't look good. Again, less really is more. So try to achieve your desired look, or try to achieve your desired outcome with as little makeup as you possibly can. Another thing that I will say is that when you blend your makeup outward, it does get thinner, and so as a result you might lose some coverage. So let me give you an example. I have some freckles here. If I want to cover them, I'm gonna pack some foundation on there, but I'm not gonna start to drag it around and move it around in an attempt to blend it, because all it's gonna do is thin out that layer of coverage that I just put on that area. So we wanna just pack it to blend it, pack and pat to blend, but don't drag it, because then you're gonna move that product and it's not gonna give you the coverage that you would have had. The more you blend, the less coverage you get in that area. So try to blend by patting, not by dragging. Now that your foundation is done, the next thing that you want to move on to is concealer. I suggest getting a concealer that's specific for the under eye area. It's formulated for that area, so it's just going to be better at not creasing and providing you the coverage and brightening that you need. So I use Bye Bye Under Eye, and what I like to do is I like to squeeze the product directly on my under eye area. Then I use a mini beauty blender, and here's what I do. So I actually tilt my head down and look up so that I can see exactly where my under eye area is, what bags I want to cover. I squeeze the product directly on the spot that I want it to be in. I then take my wet mini beauty blender. I don't use a large size, because I like my product to stay where I put it. I use a mini beauty blender so that the product doesn't get blended all over the place. Pat to blend, pat to blend, pat to blend. And that's how I do it. Of course, looks kind of funny, they look like eye masks. So of course you're gonna have a little extra. What you can do is take that sponge and bring it down to where I don't even know what this is called. I think they call it puppet lines. And I kind of brighten that as well. And this is going to be my under eye concealer, and also brightening up and providing me with somewhat of a highlight. Some people literally draw this entire triangle in with concealer and fill it, and that's a little excessive. As you can see, all you needed was just enough concealer for your under eye area, and then as you're blending, all you have to do is blend it out. You really don't need that much product. It's better to use a little bit of makeup and then be able to build it, versus putting a whole bunch of makeup on your face and then you look like a cake face. So the next step now is going to be to apply your powder. So I use a very large fluffy brush for this, as you can see. And I always use Laura Mercier translucent powder. This is all I have ever used. This is probably all I'm ever going to use, because it's one of my favorite products that I own. It does such a good job at what it's for. It's great for highlighting, it's great for setting, it's great for baking. It's not cakey, it's not heavy on the skin. I literally love this stuff. So I take a decent amount, and as you can see, I just lightly dust it, and you can see that it took the shine right away. The shine of the concealer, the shine of the foundation, everything is set pretty much instantly without adding any cake or heaviness to your skin. It's amazing. Like, I love this stuff so much. It's very important that you do set your foundation and that you do set your concealer. If you don't, it's going to slip and slide. So it's gonna move all over your face. It's not going to last as long, and you saw how shiny and just not cute it looked. So you kind of want to mattify with your product, with your powder. Also, if you're gonna be doing a lip color with like lip liner, make sure that you get powder around your mouth area before you start lining and putting that product on your lips, just to prevent it from bleeding. But you really don't need a lot. My foundations literally last me 6 to 7 months. My powders last me even longer because I don't use too much at once. I do use a lot of different products, and I do spend a lot of time on each step as I do my makeup. But as far as the amount of product goes, the amount of product that I actually use, it's not a lot. I use 1 to 2 pumps of foundation, and that's only if I'm going out. If I'm not going out, I don't even put that much on my skin. I'm only putting powder on my whole face because this is a full face makeup look. But for an everyday makeup look, I literally just put a little bit of powder under my eyes to set the concealer. And again, concealer, it's not like I'm drawing in an entire triangle that I'm then gonna fill in with concealer and then try to blend out. And then by the time you know it, your concealer's over half of your face because you put so much on. It's really not necessary to use a lot of products. If you're strategic and if you take your time, less is definitely more. It's gonna look much more natural and just feel better and look better afterwards. So take your time and use less product instead of trying to rush through things and just globbing a whole bunch of makeup on your face. The next step is to go in with our eyeshadow. So I'm using this cherry eyeshadow palette. I got this on Amazon. I can link it below in the description box. I'm gonna show you what it looks like. This is a Valentine's Day tutorial, of course, so it makes sense that I'm going to use these pink and purpley and golden kinds of colors. So before I even get to this, for my base eyeshadow, the color that I'm going to be using is Golden Hour, and this is from Supergoop. So this is like a cream eyeshadow. It's a really pretty champagne color. It also has some SPF in it, which is nice. This is going to be our base. I'm just going to scrape up some product. Not a lot, less is more. We are already going to be putting some other colors on top of this, so it's not necessary that we use a whole bunch. But I do really like this as a base because it is a cream eyeshadow, so it's a little sticky. So it's a great, I guess, adhesive for your powder shadow to stick to your lids. And it's also really pretty. It's a nice color for the rest of our pinks to sit on top of. Now that that's done, I'm gonna go back to this cherry eyeshadow palette, and I'm going to be using 2 colors now. I'm going to be taking this pink shimmer and this gold shimmer. I'm going to apply the pink shimmer on the outer half of my eyelids and the gold shimmer on the inner half of my eyelids. So that's how this is gonna go. If you don't have this palette, which you probably don't, because you know, this is just a random palette that you're seeing on a YouTube video. But I mean, if you have it, that's great. If you don't have it, that's okay. All you really need is just a light pinky kind of color and a golden kind of color. That's it. And chances are you probably have that. So take some of your light pink peachy eyeshadow, pack it on the outer half of your lid. And you can repeat this as many times as you need to in order to get the color as intense as you want it to be. Then for the inner half, like I said, you want to grab that peachy gold kind of color and use that for the inner. This is going to be like our highlight. All right, so far, just to quickly recap, what we did was we took a sandy kind of color and used that as a base for our entire lid. Then we took a pinky kind of color, a medium pink, not too light, not too dark, and we packed that on the outer half of our eyelids. We then took another sand shimmer kind of color. It could be the same one as before, or it could be a different one that's a little more sparkly. That's what I'm using. And that goes on the inner part of our lids. That's going to be our highlight, and that's going to intensify that champagne sandy kind of color that we already had going on from our base. The next thing that you want to do now is look for a color for your crease. For that, I'm going to be using this color right here. So it's like a brownie plum kind of shade along with the plum. So I'm using the brownie plum kind of color and the actual plum. So to enhance the crease, here's what you want to do. You want to kind of tilt your head down a little bit so that your crease becomes more visible. Then you can lightly start to pack some of that eyeshadow on the natural shadow that you are already seeing. And with a really light hand, you want to feather. You want to make very small circles and swirl the brush on this outer V that you just outlined. Once you've started to enhance and accentuate that outer V, you can start to blend by dragging in a little more and dragging out a little more. Don't drag too far out. Don't pass your brow. It's coming together, it's coming together. So again, for the crease, you always want to use a darker shade. I'm going to be using this brownie kind of color and the plum color that's right next to it. Quickly and lightly tapping my brush in both shades, giving it a quick blow, tilting my head down to locate my natural crease and enhancing or accentuating it with the product that I just picked up. The key is to really use a very light hand. Take your time, less is more. Start off with a little and slowly, gradually work your way up and pick up more product. Don't start with too much product at once. It's a lot harder to go backwards when we're talking about makeup than it is to continue to add. Now that the eyeshadow is close to being done, there's a couple more things that I want to do. Take an eyeliner, again, in a very light champagne kind of color, and line the inner corner of your eyes. We really want to emphasize our highlight. We want our highlighter to be concentrated where we put it, so don't drag to blend it, lightly pat it to soften the lines. That's it. We are not skipping the under eye. We are going to enhance that with eyeshadow as well. You want to use whatever color you use already on your crease. And I don't bring the shadow all the way into my inner corner. I pretty much just focus it on the outer 3/4 of my eye. I basically bring it to the center of my eye. I don't bring it in any closer than that. And boom, eyeshadow is done. Next step is going to be for us to create a very light wing. I don't want to overdo it with the eyeliner, especially since we're already using pinks on our eyes, and I don't want to make the makeup look like too much or get too kind of clowny and start to look like it's just a lot going on. So I am going to line my eyes, but I'm going to do this very lightly. And personally, I really like to use the eyeliners that are like markers, and I get them from Hair City. So we've got our two little baby wings. We lightly lined the outer corner and created a small wing. We lined the inner corner with our actual eyeliner, but in the color champagne or something of the sort. The only thing that's going to be left for us to do on the eyes is our lashes. For mascara, I'm going to start with my Voluminous Lash Paradise, and this is from L'Oreal Paris. I don't think that we necessarily should wait for just 1 or 2 days a year for a holiday to show the people that we love or to show our partner that we care about and appreciate them. Although it is nice to look forward to a holiday and, you know, get cute for it and whatnot. All right, so that's my mascara, and at this point the eyes are basically done. Basically, you just want your liner to match with your eyeshadow. So I'm gonna jump to brows. For brows, I'm gonna be using my NYX Tame & Frame, and I'm just gonna be using this brow tool. So there's an angled brush on one end and then there's a spoolie on the other. So what I do always is I comb my brows up and then I fill in any sparse areas. I do this lightly though because my eyebrows are already pretty thick and they are already dark. So I don't want to make them super bold, and I don't want them to be the focus of my whole face. It's really easy when you have thick, dark brows to make them even thicker and even darker, and it's, in my opinion, not the cutest look. So I do fill them in, but I try to keep this light and quick. Then after you fill them in, you want to just go back in with your spoolie and comb them again, just to sort of make it look a little more natural. I'm just taking a look at my lips, and to be honest, I feel like it's a little too much, so I'm gonna take some of it off. All right, that's better for me. I like this better. I don't know, it was just a little too much. So now the next thing that you want to do is you want to do a little bit of a contour. So there's a couple different options, a couple different ways that you can go about doing this. If you want, you can use a bronzer, or if you have an actual contour color, you can use that as well. You can also do both. For me personally, I really just focus on a little bit of a contour here to highlight or accentuate my brow bones and my cheekbones a little bit. Sometimes I contour my nose, but typically I don't. So I'm going to quickly show you how I do my contour with a contour color. So this is a concealer actually, and this is from NYX. I use a really small amount and I pretty much just dot it lightly, and you can see how dark it is. So you don't need a lot at all. I just use a couple dots. I know you can see how small of an amount that is. Then I take a brush. You guys see how small this brush is? When I tell you that I like my makeup concentrated where I apply it, I'm not kidding. I'm not going to use a huge brush for this. I'm going to use a small brush. And I know I'm talking fast. I just want to talk to you before I blend. And I want it to blend before it dries. So, see that? When you are blending it, you want to blend upward, not downward. So see how I'm using my brush? I'm making very small circles and I'm blending that color up. I am not blending it down towards my jawline, because what that's going to do is it's going to do the opposite of what you're trying to do. You're trying to lift, you're trying to give the impression of a fuller cheekbone here. If you bring it down, you're not going to get that effect. So when you're blending, blend up, not down. I'm not using any additional product. I'm just kind of using whatever is already on my brush to get my forehead a little bit, minding my baby hairs. Things should stay where you put it. Basically, you want to blend it so that it looks natural and so that there are not any harsh lines or edges, but you're not trying to move it. You want to keep it where you put it. So keep that in mind always, always, always. Last but not least, I'm going to go in with some eyelashes, just because I feel like you can't have a full makeup look if you skip on the eyelashes. I don't know. All you really have to do is just hold the lashes on both ends. That's really the key. If you hold it on both ends and stretch it out, then it's easy for you to just sit it on your natural lash line. And I really like the lashes that wisp out at the ends, just because I feel like it makes my face, I feel like it makes the shape of my face look a little different. And personally, I like the look a lot. I don't really like the lashes that are full at the center. I feel like that makes my face look wider. But you know, that's just me. Everybody's got their own preference. If you haven't noticed, I pretty much took off the majority of the liner. I'm just gonna put some gloss back on. I really don't like anything that's too intense. So, I don't know. The liner was a little too much for me, so I had to take it off. All right, guys. So, that's pretty much it. This is the makeup look. Just kind of moved around a little bit and turned on my ring light so that I can show you guys what the makeup looks like up close. So here it is. As always, thank you so much for watching. I love you guys so much. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, of course, duh. And comment down below what you guys are going to be doing for Valentine's Day. I'd be curious to see. I hope you have a great holiday, and I'll talk to you all soon. Bye.